Virgilio S. Almario, or also known as Rio Alma, won the National Artist of the Philippines for Literature on the year of 2003. He is a poet, literary historian, and critic, translator, editor, teacher, and cultural manager. Almario showcases modernism in his Tagalog poetry as he revived and reinvented traditional Filipino poetic forms. The artist was born in San Miguel, Bulacan on March 9, 1944 to a poor family. He pursued his education at the University of the Philippines with a degree of on Bachelor of Arts in Political Science. He first started as a public teacher to his town's high school, then he eventually pursued his master's course in education at the University of the East, where he often spent time with his poet friends who shared the same interests with him in language. Moreover, he was an instructor at the Ateneo de Manila University from 1969 to 1972, while on 1974 he enrolled as a graduate student at the University of the Philippines for his editing and writing degree, and on the year of 2003 he was the Dean of the College of Arts and Letters in the same university. Rio Alma was published a total of 12 poetry books that redefined the views of Filipino reader and opened their minds for critic and to discuss their different views regarding his works. He greatly influenced young poets and writers who admired his works in leading Tagalog poetry and literary in a new and modern direction while still being aware of their Filipino consciousness. Amario's name has been prominent in national writing workshops. He founded several literary workshops that help aspiring new generation writers. The Galian sa Arte at Tula or GAT, the first of his workshop in his apartment, and the Linangan sa Imahe, Retorika at Anyo or LIRA, which is an organization of poets who write in Filipino. They have produced award-winning poets, namely Roberto and Rebecca Anunuevo, Romelo Bacquayan Jr., and many others. He was the chairman of the largest organization of Filipino writers in the country called Union ng mga Manunulat sa Pilipinas, or UMPIL, as well as former executive director of the National Commission for Culture and the Arts. Additionally, he also immersed himself in writing children's literary pieces through the Angklat Adarna series as he headed the Nutrition Center of the Philippines, now Children's Communication Center, publishing house for children's book, the country's most successful publishing house for this genre. He effectively led the second modernist movement in Filipino poetry alongside Rogelio G. Mangajas and Lamberto E. Antonio, where they awakened the undiscovered imagination of Filipinos through finding the purpose of what it is to truly be a Filipino. His works leaned towards the construction of Filipino literary theory during during the par, during the years of martial law. His critical works interest the issue of national language as he took part in nationalism, politics, and activist movement. Rio Alma goes beyond the social realism by returning and re-examining the native tradition of the Filipinos while pursuing his new direction of the modern and global literature. Adrian Cristobal declared that reading Amario's pieces was like going on an internal tour of the Philippine history. The artist's vision in literature is to engage modern poets in the evolving Filipino national language that he strongly exhibits in his works. Written all in the Philippine language, he proves that the national language is capable of expressing the sophisticated native and global Filipino imagination.